Hello and welcome to the myCamosun Student Open House. We'll be getting started and I'd like to welcome Heather Cummings to get us going. Heather?
Thanks, Helen. Welcome everyone and thanks for joining us for myCamosun Student Experience. We have, as of today, launched our new student platform called myCamosun. For those of you that are current students, we have replaced CamLink, something that you have been asking us to do for many years. And after 3.5 years of hard work by a lot of dedicated folks, we're able to offer you myCamosun, which is our one-stop shop for student information. Everything you need to know about your experience here at Camosun, you can access through myCamosun. So I want to kickstart this by doing a territorial acknowledgement. And because we have the honor to work and live and play in the traditional territories of the Wasanich and Lekwungen people, we are very blessed to be here on this beautiful territory and thank the stewards of this incredible land for giving us this opportunity to be here today. So I'm going to pass this presentation on to Scott Harris, who's Camosun's registrar and has been really one of the biggest champions of bringing this new student experience to everyone. So I'll pass it over to Scott.
Okay, thanks, Heather. Welcome, everybody. So as Heather said, my name is Scott Harris, and as the registrar, I oversee admissions, registration, financial aid, scheduling, and student records. So I've been very highly involved in this project and really excited for what you're about to see today. So today we're going to go over what's new. I'm going to give a very quick sort of recap of some of the highlights that I think you'll be most interested in. After that, the best part of today is doing a demonstration of the new myCamosun and showing you some of the functionality and things to look out for. And then, as Helen said at the beginning, please submit your questions through the Q&A channel. And at the end, we'll have lots of time to be able to answer your questions. Okay. So we've been working for the past, I guess, 3 years now to bring this to fruition. And really, as Heather said, our core guiding principle has been to enhance your experience, the student experience. And so some of the things that I am really excited about are the ability to add a chosen name and gender identity. So the chosen name or the preferred name really is up to you. And what that means is that chosen name is what will appear on your ID card. It's what will appear on class rosters for your instructors, etc. Very cool new feature, long time in the making and finally here, and I'm really pleased about it. You'll be able to add a family member or a support person as a proxy to access elements of your account that you choose to give them. So as you'll see in the demo, you'll be able to choose whether you want them to see your finances, whether you want them to see your grades, and you have control over that. And the relationship of that information sharing is really between you and whoever that third party is, okay? You'll be able to view your grades, of course, like you could in CamLink, but you'll also be able to view your progress towards your chosen credential and your progress throughout your academic program, which is very new. I think you'll agree with me that the new myCamosun is a significant departure from CamLink for those of you who have been able to see it so far. You'll be able to plan your courses out and your learning pathway. So you'll actually be able to plan your courses out into the future. And it really helps make the registration process much smoother, helps you to make sure that you understand what's coming up over the coming semesters and what you're going to be wanting to take. You're going to be able to create your own timetable. The timetable is now visual, which is way better than what it was in CamLink. Again, you'll see that in a moment. You'll be able to view your financial aid, your rewards, your account balance, make payments for certain things. And you'll be able to add your banking information so that any refunds that are due to come back to you, you will be able to receive those through electronic funds transfer directly into your bank, which is great. And then finally, you'll be able to apply to graduate through myCamosun. There's no more paper forms around that. You'll be able to print off unofficial transcripts and registration statements for your own purposes and your own use, and much more. So, we've sent out an email to students last week as well as this morning, just really encouraging you to go on to the my.camosun.ca, sign in, review your information, update your chosen name if that's what you want to do. Make sure all your other information is correct. Add your banking info. Take a look at your program, make sure it's correct, and then grant proxy to anybody who you may have had a previous permissions on file for, because proxy is the new way of sharing information with those third parties. And so now it gives me great pleasure to turn it over to Haley, who's going to walk us through and actually show us the system. Haley?
Great, thanks, Scott. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to take a look at is signing in to myCamosun. And this is an improvement piece because we'll be using single sign-on instead of an individual sign-on. So this is the same password and Camosun ID that you use currently for D2L and any sign-on to the Camosun network. So this is what the single sign-on page does look like. This is a demonstration screen, so there's some slight differences, but you'll enter your Camosun ID and your password. If you need any assistance with changing your password, if you've forgotten it, you can use the password.camosun.ca. And also on this page, there is a guest access. So if anyone is not a member of Camosun yet, they can use this link here to view the timetable. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at is actually the help information, the source on the camosun.ca website for the myCamosun help information. So there is a page, and I'll be demonstrating most of the things that you can see here on this page, and they're all links. The registration steps here all have videos. And so I encourage you to watch those videos because they'll go into a little bit more depth of what I'm going to touch upon in the demonstration. So again, anytime that you need some assistance with what you're doing in myCamosun, this is a great resource for you and has some really great instructions. So with that, now let's move over and get into the system and start the demo. And today we'll actually be using a test environment just because we have some data in there that we're going to use that's handy already set up. But you will see some slight variations in the test environment to what is actually live now with our production environment. Okay. So here we are in myCamosun, and this is the home menu. This is the student options within myCamosun. You can see here, they're all displayed in these handy, what we refer to as chiclets. And we'll start by going through the user profile, and then we'll come back here and we'll talk a little bit more about the information here. So the user profile menu is actually here up where the little user is with your Camosun ID. And when you click on that, that will drop down the menu so that you can see the options available. And the first one we'll take a look at is user profile. So user profile is all your information that's associated to you, such as your email, your address, and some demographic information. You can see here, we'll go into edit personal identity, and that's alluding just to what Scott was talking about. That's new here is the chosen name. So you have the ability to enter in these fields what your chosen first, middle, and last name are, as well as use the drop-down menu in the gender identity to self-disclose that information. Okay, next we'll look at the address information. So you can see here, you have the ability in myCamosun to edit your address, and that's the little pencil icon here. Anytime in myCamosun where you can change something, it's identified by the pencil. And you can see basically it's as easy as entering in the field here to what you want to change your address to and click update. And you'll see often in myCamosun, when you do something and it's successful, you do get these lovely confirmation messages at the top there. So one of the things that you'll need to do as a student before you can register, and the system will send you a message telling you, is you'll actually have to go in and just confirm with us that the address in the system is correct. And you can do that with this blue message here. And you have a button that says confirm. So you'll just need to click that before any registration activity can occur. So once you log in, you may want to go here and do that step right away. Same as with email address. Again, you have the edit. For emails and phone numbers, you have the additional functionality of being able to remove them. And you can see here in the phone numbers down below, again, that's the same here. You have the remove and edit. You'll notice that the remove button is not on the address. So anytime you need to remove an address, there's actually up at the top here in this blue information, there's a hyperlink here that you can send that request to registration. But just the simple changing your address can be done in myCamosun. Okay, so let's take a look at the other options in the user profile. So you can add your emergency contact information. And again, this is very easy. You can just click on the new contact and you can edit or remove as required. And next we'll look at proxy access. So as Scott mentioned, proxy access is a new functionality. This didn't exist in CamLink. And this allows you to, through the system, initiate access for another person, such as your parent, or a third party, such as your employer, whoever that it may be, to access the information in myCamosun, which means they log in and they can see the information that you have selected for them to have access to. So let's go and take a look at what that looks like. So when you add a proxy, you choose from the drop-down menu and you select add a new proxy. And here there are some required fields that you'll have to fill out, first name, last name, and an email address. If you know the person's phone number or birth date or any other type of information, please add that. Then you'll need to go down and select your relationship to this person from the list. Here's the access. So this is where you can control what this person can see or not see. If you want to allow them access to everything that's available, you can click this radio button for complete access, or you can select by clicking the buttons that you want to select for them to have access to. One important thing to note is that, pardon me, at this time, student planning information is not available through proxy access. Okay. And you just need to go down to the disclosure agreement and read this so that you have that information. Click in the tick box and hit submit. When you do this, the system will generate an email and send it to your proxy. And if they've never been to Camosun before, it will generate a new ID for them, and it will have that information in the email. Then another email is sent to them with a password. So they get 2 emails and their very own login after you submit the add a proxy. Once they're added as a proxy, you'll have the ability then to revoke the access if you no longer want them to have it, or you can edit the access if you decide that you no longer want them to have grades, then it's editable as well. Okay, so let's go and take a look now back at the home menu. And again, this is sort of a landing page with many of the options here available in these chiclets, but also in the sidebar menu, you can see there are a few extra options. And academics is the area that pertains mostly to coursework. and all these transcripts and different types of requests. You can see when you scroll down, there's some extra information that's not on the home menu, such as access to the forms you may need at Camosun. There's a link to the Student Society, a link to the Health and Dental Plan opt-out, and for international students, there's a letter request there as well. So let's take a look now. We'll go through the home menu and we'll just do a little preview of everything. So of course, grades, here's where you'll click to view your grades. We have a verification of enrollment request. So this is anytime you need to provide documentation that's official about your registration and attendance at Camosun, you would do so through that. Banking information, this is where, as Scott highlighted, you can now receive refunds through direct deposit instead of a paper check. So banking information is where you'll enter your bank information so that we can send that to you. The course catalog, which we'll look at in just a few moments when we are into the student planning piece. And graduation overview, this is where you will be able to submit your application to graduate. Once you've done all your coursework, you can apply to graduate, and as well as an official transcript request. So again, this is an official document. As I showed you before in the sidebar menu, students can actually print off an unofficial transcript if you need that type, not an official sealed copy, but just the unofficial one that is available to you in the sidebar menu. Okay, let's take a look at student finance, and then we'll come back and we'll do some more detailed demonstration in the student planning area. So student finance, again, this is all your account information. And as we can see here, this demonstration student we've been doing some testing with, and they have some account activity on file. So we'll take a look at that. The account summary is just basically an overview page, but let's go into the account activity, which gives us a bit more detail. I'm going to choose from the list of terms here, the 2021 winter term. And as you can see, the very lovely display that comes up is what we call these bubbles. And what they're doing is they're starting with your total charges. So this is all your activity that has been billed to your account for the term. And then it's applying all the credits. So this bubble here is the payments that you would have made. This student has some financial aid, of which there is being credited to their account. They also have a sponsorship on file, which now the sponsorship amount is directly transferred to your sponsor off of your account. So now that becomes very clear to you that if you are being sponsored, you will not be paying this amount here in this bubble, as well as your deposit. So here we are, we land on the balance, which is very clear that now this is the amount here that you are responsible for. And any of these bubbles, when we click on them, they will expand down below here so that we can see the breakdown. We can see here, this is all the tuition, and we have the costs by each course. And we also have the student fees. So we can see all the breakdown of the costs for the student fees. And we'll keep going here, and you can see again, all the bubbles relate here to a little bit more detailed information. Anytime you need a payment receipt, you can click on this hyperlink, and you have the ability to print the payment receipt details. This one here is for that amount that we saw that the student made for the $284 here against their account. Okay, let's skip over now to make a payment. And that is where you will be able to, oh, pardon me, just one moment before we go there. This is a student statement, and this is some really important information that sometimes students requested that needed to come to the registration office to ask for, and this is a really great improvement. You can now print this off as a PDF yourself, and we'll just let this load here. Again, this is a test environment, so it's a bit slower. So here we are with the student statement. And you can see it has a logo and all the breakdown of the costs that we saw in your account activity screen. So again, sometimes you're requested to provide the breakdown of what your tuition is for each course. This is included, as well as all those student fees. And again, your payment and financial aid and sponsorship information, if that is applicable to you. Okay, so again, you can print this from your browser and nice and handy. Okay, so let's go back to the account activity, and we'll actually now navigate, like I said, to make a payment. And we have another opportunity for navigation at the top of every page. There are these breadcrumbs. And so it's really handy when you want to stay within the module that you're working in, but see all the options. So here we are, make a payment. And you'll see that make a payment is where you can pay for tuition deposit, international tuition, if you have a collections balance, and some miscellaneous fees. And these are the options available to use a credit card for. If you want to pay your regular tuition, that is not payable with a credit card, so it's not available through Make a Payment. You can see here in our list, we have tuition amount here, and it's saying that it's not payable. So there's a link here that you can use to view the payment options available for you, and those are still such as online banking and those types of payments. But for the deposit, we'll see here, we'll go down our list, and this one is due for summer term coming up. So we'll see here's our tuition deposit, and it automatically selects if it's overdue. This one we added a due date to, which has passed now. But when it's not overdue, to make the payment, you just need to select in the box. The amount populates for you here. You go up to the top and choose a payment method, and then you can proceed to payment. Okay, and just to note that the deposits now, rather than in CamLink when you decided to select a term to pay the deposit is now assigned to you through the registration office. So prior to the start of the next term, there will be an assignment done in which you will have a deposit available here and Make a Payment to pay. And if you don't plan on attending the term, then you would just not make the payment, and it will be removed from your file at a certain point from the registration department as well. Okay, so let's go back to the home menu, and now we can take a more detailed look at the student planning. And student planning is everything that's associated to your academic goals and your progress, as well as any actions about scheduling and registering. So when we click on student planning, we come to an overview page, and we'll just take a moment for this to load. And it is a default display to the current term. So student planning always defaults to the current term. So it is very important when you are working for future terms, such as that will be happening very shortly with summer, that you need to navigate to summer. And I'll show you that in just a minute when we get into the planning piece. Okay, so here the student is in the Bachelor of Business Administration Marketing, and their schedule is displaying here down below. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by going into My Program. And My Program is an entirely new functionality that didn't exist in CamLink. And this is the piece that shows you all the requirements that are associated to the program that you're in, and it displays your progress. So there's some extra bit of features on this screen, and I'll just start by showing you those before we look at the program requirements down below. So view a new program is a way for students to take what they've done so far at Camosun, so they're the courses that they've taken so far, and do sort of a what if scenario to see how they would apply to a different program. So in order to do that, what you would do is select from a list of programs here, and these are all the programs that we have at Camosun College. And you can select on a specific program you're interested in and click View Program. And what it does is it takes all those requirements and basically applies them to a new program. So you can see here, I've chosen Public Administration. This student would have 2 courses completed towards this goal if they were to switch over here on that block. And as they go down further, we can see they've got a large list of completed courses towards the other areas. And we'll just show those details here so that we can see them. Okay, so it's a nice little feature if you are thinking of changing your academic goal and want to see your options available. Okay, now we will take a look at Load Sample Plan. And Load Sample Plan is for some very specific programs at Camosun. And those are the programs in which your curriculum needs to be completed in a specific sequence. So a good example of this is Certified Dental Assistant. So that is a certificate year-long program in which the student must take certain courses in fall and winter and summer term to complete the program. So this feature is really intended for new students who are just joining in one of those types of programs. So let's take a look at it really quick. And all you do is load the sample course plan. You would select a term, and for new students, the term needs to be, this planning piece needs to be done in your very first term at Camosun, because it doesn't go backwards in time. So you would choose a program here, and I'm just going to show you that Certified Dental Assistant like I spoke about. And we'll click Preview Plan. We can see here that here is the progression in which these courses need to be taken for this particular program. And what you would do is click on the Load button, and that takes all these courses listed here and drops them into your plan so that it's sort of a one and done, and you are now have all your course planning for your entire program done. But again, this applies to some very specific programs at Camosun. And if you happen to choose a program that doesn't have a sample plan, the system will tell you that one's not available. Okay, so let's take a look now at this specific student in their progress. And again, they are in the Bachelor of Business Administration and Marketing degree. And you can see here, this student is progressed into probably about their third or fourth year. And so they've got a lot of coursework done. So we're going to take a look here. We're going to expand all the requirements. And we'll see here the requirements are all broken down into specific blocks. And the first one here is a common one that most students have, and that's the English option. So we can see here that this student has the option, choose one of these courses listed. And this student happened to take English 151, and you can see here in the status that they actually took this course at another institution and it was transferred in. So once they've taken that course, it fulfills the rest of these requirements that were optional. So this is actually one course here of which now these ones are not required. So that's how the option looks in the program requirements. So let's go through this list now. And as we carry on, we'll see here's another set of requirements that are take all of. And this student, as you can see, quite easily displaying in the status column here that all of these courses are completed. Okay, so we'll keep scrolling down here and we'll come across some courses that aren't complete and need to do some planning work with. And that's what we're going to move to next. So we're going to take a look at now specifically how to plan some of your courses. We can see here in this block that these two courses here are marked as not started. So we need to do some planning for those. There's two options to do a filter as a shortcut in the course catalog. And you can either click on the course individually, or you can use this search button here, and that will filter the courses in the course catalog for you. So this is a really nice, handy shortcut. So I'm going to click on this search here, and we're going to plan these two courses. So this takes us right into the course catalog. And you can see here, like I said, the filter has filtered out these courses specifically straight from my program. So that feature is in my program. If you're just in the regular course catalog, you can also filter results over here. And you can see there's different categories that you can choose. And as well as if you wanted a specific instructor, you could select the box to filter by instructor. So again, lots of options here to help you find the courses that you want to plan and take. Okay, so let's go back to planning. So once we've identified the course in the list that we want to plan, we have a button here that says Add Course to Plan. We'll select the term. And for this one, we're going to do some planning for the upcoming term, which is summer. So we'll add that course to our plan. And we'll pick the other one that was not started, was our Philosophy 330. So again, click the button, Add Course to Plan, select a term, and click Add Course to Plan. Okay, so that's as far as planning goes. It's that easy. Now we're going to go take a look back in my program and see what that change looks like in the system. So here we go. We'll scroll down and we can see here the courses that previously said not started now say planned. So these courses are planned in my program, which means we can now go over and do the next step of the registration process, which is scheduling. So to do that, again, we're going to go up to the breadcrumbs in the student planning menu, and we can go directly to plan and register. Again, the alternative methods are to use the sidebar navigation or the home menu. Okay, student planning, plan and register. Okay, so here we are on the plan and register page, and you'll see that the plan and register has 4 tabs. So let's take a look at those. We'll start with my permissions, and then we'll end up in my schedule. So my permissions is where you can see if a requisite waiver has been entered. And again, this is new functionality that didn't exist in CamLink. Was a bit of a guessing game for you previously. And now you can actually see when the entry has been done. And now you can go and register if you were waiting for the entry. My notes, this is just some free space that you have available. If you want to record any notes about doing some planning. And again, this is free text here. You can add anything you want, but please note that this does retain in the database and does become part of your student record. So you click Save Note and you can see that I have a note previously entered, and now they're just going to build up here down in the note history and kind of like saves in a little chat thread. Okay, let's go over to my plan, and that's where we'll see the effect of what we just did in my program. So we can see here in the summer term that there's the Econ 104 that we added to the course plan and the Philosophy 330. I've added a couple of other courses here before the demonstration just so that we can speed things up. So that's why there's 4 bubbles in this term. And the really nice feature here is that you can take these course bubbles if you decide, I think maybe 4 courses is too much for summer. I want to actually take this one in the fall term instead. So you can see it's just a nice simple drag and drop so that you can do the course planning how you would like to make changes. Very simple. Okay, so we're going to put this course back into summer. And we're going to now go into my schedule and take a look at the scheduling steps. So you'll see here, like I mentioned before, the default view in student planning is always on the current term. So 2021 winter is our current term. And let's just go down and take a look at this student's courses for winter. We can see here that they had some courses that they chose to drop, and that status displays here in red. There was a course for winter that they waitlisted for. And this is just an example because I want to show you where you can see the waitlist information. So on the course details here, you'll see the number, the waitlisted number is the total number of students on the waitlist. And the waitlist position number refers to what number you are on the waitlist. So this course, there's 2 students in total, of which this student is number 2 position on the waitlist. Okay, and then they have an additional course here for the winter term that they are registered in. For the winter term only, there's not the ability to drop courses, but as of 2021 summer and onwards, this is again another change in that students will be able to drop their courses up until the last day to drop without academic penalty deadline. So previously in CamLink, you could only drop by the drop deadline. Now that ability is extended to the without academic penalty deadline. So again, this will be for summer term and onwards. It is not available for the winter term. Okay, so let's take a step forward now in my schedule and take a look at the upcoming term, because that is what we'll be looking at very, very shortly as the schedule for summer term will be released tomorrow. You will be able to come in here and start doing your planning. So the toggle buttons, the arrow toggle buttons is how you move to summer term. And you'll see here, again, this is in a demonstration environment. This has not been done yet for summer term in our live environment of myCamosun, but this is what it will look like when the registration department assigns you your registration period. So again, this is a change. We are no longer doing web declare that was part of CamLink. And instead of web declaring, you will now be assigned a registration period through the registration department. And this is where you will see what day and time that is for you. So again, my schedule, toggle to the future term of summer, and in the blue message, you'll see when you can register. Okay, so again, we're going to take a look at some scheduling for the summer term. We can't actually register yet because you can see that doesn't start until the 29th of March for this student. But we'll take a look at what scheduling looks like. Okay, so here we are. We have the 2 planned courses that I showed you, as well as the 2 other courses that I previously planned. So we have 4 courses in total, and that's our list here on the left. When we want to take a look at when the courses are offered, and those are the sections, we click on the expand view schedule sections, and you can see right away I have a list here that also populates in this calendar. And that was what Scott was referring to in his introduction, that we have this lovely calendar view for the timetable now, which will really assist you with doing the timetabling piece, which is something that is definitely much easier to do with a visual display. So we'll go down the list here and I'll just keep populating the sections for all of my courses so that we can see what options we have available here. Okay, so we can see here in this list that we've got a couple of courses that only have one section, and it is advisable to plan your timetable around courses that have fewer sections. So I'm going to plan out this one here, Marketing 385. I just click on the section. Here we have the section details, and this is all the meeting information, the seats available, the prerequisites for the course, and the course description information. As well as there is a new hyperlink here to get to the bookstore. If you'd like to take a look at what textbooks you'll need for this course, that will take you right to the bookstore website. Pay special attention to this additional information here. This will let you know when a course is reserved or restricted for a certain program. And as you can see here, this course is reserved for a program. And when there's a reserve, it means that that program gets a priority in their registration. And then at a later date, that lifts and opens for general registration. So here we'll add this section because we'll plan on coming back at a certain point to see if there's space available. And here you can see we've got our confirmation at the top that this course has been planned on the schedule. And now what that looks like is that the course bubble has turned yellow, as well as we have a status over here on the left of planned. So let's take a look at how the other courses look. We'll click on the schedule sections and click on this one. Again, there's the reserve for the certain program, and we'll add this section. Again, we have confirmation that we've got it planned and our status is planned here. So we've got two courses planned here. So let's take a look at when we add a section that has a little more offerings. And you can see here in our timetable that we've got 3 different sections of Econ 104 that we can choose. So when you're on the sidebar and you hover over the section blocks here, you can see that they highlight in the calendar view. So you can easily identify which section is which. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this section here, and we'll see some interesting actions that occur. These sections here okay. So these sections, you'll see here that they actually are having a time conflict. And unfortunately, because we're in a test environment, they actually aren't displaying how they should be and will do for you in the live environment. But I'll just speak to that change. And these courses, when there's a conflict, will display in red. And you will get a notification over here on the side that the courses are in conflict. And again, you can see this in the video. If you want to actually see what will occur, watch the video and it will display that for you. And what you will do is remove whichever course you don't want by these little X's here. So we'll take the Econ 104 DO3 section away, and then we can plan again for another section in which there's no conflict for us. So that will be this one here. DO2. Okay, so here we go. This is our final schedule. And at this point, before registration opens, This is as far as you can get in the process. So your planning is done, your scheduling is done, and the last step is now just registration. And again, once the registration period opens, what you will see here is a blue register button that basically you click on and it puts you into the course. It's just that simple. If you were waitlisted if a course was waitlisted, the button will say waitlist. And then once you are registered, the button changes to drop waitlist according to the actions you can take. So again, like I said, all of the demonstration that I just showed you at a higher level is available in a much more detailed level in the videos. And we'll go back now to that page in the website of the myCamosun help. And you can see here that these are the steps of registration. And there's a video for each step that you can watch, as well as some detailed information about the steps in an instruction format. Okay, and so that concludes the demo, and I will hand back over to Scott.
Thank you very much, Haley. Actually, I'm going to just lead us through some questions. For those of you, actually, Haley, you can keep your screen up and demo it if you don't mind, because we might show the screen a little bit as we go through some of these questions.
Okay.
So my voice, I'm Helen Love, and I'm the project manager for the Colleague Renewal Project, which this is one of the activities coming out of that project. So just to put a name to the voice. We have a number of questions that have come through, some excellent questions, and many of them have been answered online through the typing. But I am going to ask Scott if you'd like to come online quickly and just provide an overview of some of the questions, especially around the summer term and what's coming up there. So Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Helen. Thanks for the questions, everybody. This is great. We love this because it also helps us put together a frequently asked questions for all students that they can review and benefit from. So there's been some common themes so far in the questions. And like Helen said, one of those is about the summer term. So there's the summer term actually publishes tomorrow. So it hasn't published yet, so don't worry. All of these things are kind of happening in a sequence, right? So myCamosun is now available for you to go in and play and explore and add your information, but not everything is in there yet. And so there are some key dates coming up over the next little while. So the summer term will publish tomorrow in terms of the schedule. Students will be notified on Friday of the dates and times for registration for the summer term. And then the actual registration process for the summer term will begin the week of March the 26th. So nobody's missed out on anything. Those dates are still to come. Let me just go through quickly here and look at some of the other questions to highlight. So lots of questions about WebDeclare. WebDeclare has been put out to pasture, has been retired. We won't be doing WebDeclare anymore. All returning students will have the deposit for the coming terms added to their account automatically. There will be a change of program process that was facilitated through the WebDeclare process before. That'll be slightly different, but there is no more WebDeclare every semester. Let's see here, lots of questions in this one. I think some of them have been answered. Haley went over the restricted courses versus the reserved courses that are set aside for certain groups of students for a specific period of time. If you're looking to graduate this year, you're looking to graduate and you're completing your graduation requirements this semester in the winter semester, the deadline to apply to graduate is April the 30th. Nothing has changed around the student ID cards, and the exam schedule is not yet posted, but will be very, very soon. Let's see, do we have any new questions here?
So,
yeah.
Scott, can I there's a question about a video to help students apply to graduate.
I don't know if there's a video. I believe that there's some walkthrough. It's incredibly intuitive. One thing I will note about applying to graduate is, and this was in the emails that we've sent to students, you can only apply to graduate from the program that you're listed in. So you need to make sure you're in the correct program. If you're not in the correct program, you'll need to connect with academic advising or contact us in the registrar's office. But generally speaking, yeah, so Haley's got it up here now. So
Haley, do you want to just walk us through this function?
Sure. So I'll just back up here. And so what I did was from the home menu, I clicked on graduation overview, which then opens up to allow me to apply. And again, you do have to be registered in your courses to have this button available to you. So we'll click on apply here. And basically we're entering in some details and it's just entering some fields. So we're going to select a term. We're going to put what our name is that we would like to have on our credential. We'll enter our phonetic spelling of our name to assist in the ceremony. And then here we'll have some details about attending the ceremony. And it's as easy as filling in these fields here and hitting submit. And that's really all there is to it.
So we have provided and we'll provide, we'll check on documentation around this piece of the process and follow up on whether we need to create a micro video for this piece. While I have Haley there, can I throw you a question?
Sure.
Sorry. I tried to plan my schedule and I was unable to add any courses to my plan that are part of my program. Is there a reason for this? So I believe that will be, so I'm not sure what that might be, why that might be.
Yeah, there wouldn't be anything, shouldn't be anything restricting you from adding a program or adding a course to your plan. There's nothing that the system would prohibit someone from doing that. So if it's a scheduling question, again, you should be able to schedule. It's when you go to actually register that's where you would see any type of restriction by the system. And we're not at registration yet. So I think for that question, it sounds like maybe just need a little bit of assistance in walking through the system. And I would encourage them to contact the registration department for that.
Thank you. And a question from Sandy. How do we know well in advance what we plan for courses like next year will be available or not?
That's a really good question. Again, you did see me when I was in the course planning and we were in my plan that I was moving around some bubbles. And again, I should have mentioned this. I do mention it in the video that when you move the courses, sorry, they're scheduled now, so I can't move them. But when you move the bubbles, it doesn't necessarily mean that the course will be offered in the term that you are planning that course for. And so you should always check the academic calendar to see when courses are typically offered. And again, the confirmation of that occurs when the timetable is released. So for summer term, that will be tomorrow.
And just to encourage you that if you are planning ahead and you're not sure, to contact the academic advising groups, which leads into a question from Mauricio. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm an international student. The business department has planned my whole path and I can start in May. So who can I reach out to help me plan and to see if I have enough prerequisites? And,
yeah, so again, you can look in my program to see that high level view that's available to you. But anytime you have more detailed questions as an international student, you would connect with your international advisor.
Thank you, Haley. Question from Gabriella. Can students with outstanding fees apply to graduate If not, what happens if they apply to grad past the April 30th deadline once they've paid their outstanding balance? Scott, do you want to answer that one if Haley doesn't have an answer? I'm really putting people on the spot here to answer questions.
Yeah, that's okay. I believe, I can be corrected if I'm wrong, but I believe that students can still apply to graduate. However, if they do have outstanding balances, they would not be issued a credential parchment or any transcripts until the balance was cleared.
Right.
So just encourage you to pay your outstanding balances. Okay, there are a number of questions that have come in that are specific to student situations where not being able to see an enrollment fee, and not being able to see account summary or activity. Just want to remind, I think Haley said this before, any financial activity that had occurred before March 10th, when we closed off the old CamLink, will be reflected in CamLink. Your balances have been transferred over into the new system. So you should see, if you had an outstanding balance, it should appear in myCamosun. And any future activities, such as deposit dues for the summer term, will appear in myCamosun. If you are expecting to see some charges and they are not appearing, then please do contact the registrar's office, and we will look into those specific issues for you. We are currently in the process of making sure that all of the charges have been transferred correctly and applied. And we are also in the process of running any payments that were received through electronic funds transfer. So if you made a payment after March 10th through your bank, it will be reflected in myCamosun, but it might be tomorrow that it'll be reflected. So if you're not seeing that balance reflected today, don't worry, that process is still running behind the scenes to make sure that all of the balances are brought forward and any payments are being applied correctly.
Thanks, Helen. Can I jump in on one here? There's one from Mauricio, who's a international student, Haley, and what he's saying is that the business department has planned the pathway, right? So all programs have a sort of standard suggested pathway, but he's saying that how would he know if he's met the prerequisites? Are you able to show a student's plan that shows when a prerequisite hasn't been met, or can at least show what it would look like?
Yeah, sure. So when you plan a course, I don't think there's one here. Well, I can show you similarly what it looks like. So when you plan a course and you don't have the prerequisite for the course, it displays in a yellow message here. So this one happens to say waitlisted, but if it was the scenario that you didn't meet the prerequisites, the prerequisite information would display in this same message here with the yellow triangle. So you can see here, these courses don't have the yellow triangles. That's indicating this student has the prerequisites. But again, if they didn't, then dynamically this yellow message will display with the prerequisite information there. So yes, you can go into my plan and you can see that there. Again, if you don't have the prerequisites for a course when you attempt to register, you will get, again, another message that we saw that were when we took actions up at the top here that were in those green notifications, you'll get a yellow one that says you don't have the prerequisites for the course. So yes, the system is very specific in the messaging rather than CamLink had much more general messaging that was much more difficult to determine what the problem was. Here in myCamosun, we have very specific error messages.
Thank you, Haley. So we've got a question from Nicholas, and this is a nice general question, and I'll throw it to Scott to answer. in this question is, I did an access program in 2020 fall, which omitted one English course because of my high school mark was high enough for the goal program. Well done, Nicholas. Now myCamosun is saying I'm not finished the access program because I didn't take the English class. What's going on there? So this is a case where you have taken, you had an English class from high school and it's not showing up in the My program.
Yeah, good question, Nicholas. Thank you for that one. So previously, before myCamosun, all of the evaluation of whether you had met program requirements was done manually, and all of the substitutions or exemptions on coursework, that was also done manually. And so there's been a massive effort to put all of those things into the system and codify them so that you wouldn't see this. So if you were granted an exemption or a substitution because of your high school coursework for that access program, it should have been codified, but perhaps has not yet been. So if you could let us know, I think what we're asking is if you could email us with your ID number, please. And I'm not sure the email, Helen, that we should be using for that, but we will take a look and see why that English wasn't coded the way it should have been. But it doesn't mean you're going to need to take the English class. So we will get that corrected.
So in the email message that Scott sent out to all students this morning, at the bottom of the email, there are a number of links to contact specific departments in the registrar's office. And one of those was student records. So if you have any concerns or feel that your My program is not reflective, please, by all means, contact your academic advisor or email student records, and we can have a look at resolving those issues. Okay, I'm going to go to a question from Nika. When I try to add a term under Plan and Register, my schedule, my options are only 2024 winter and 2024 summer. How can I add 2021 summer? Haley, do you want to demonstrate? I suspect that summer's already been added.
Yep, so let's go take a look here. I'll see what options. I'm not sure how far out the student has planned, but we can just take a look at, because then now you can see how to remove one if you want to. So they are these buttons here. So this one says add a term. And when you add a term to your plan, it's from a drop-down menu, and we can see the options available here for this student. This is the one I just removed. These are the ones that they don't have on their plan already. So the fall term, I click add term, and then it's going to pop it right in here to this space here, fall term.
Thank you, Haley. A question from Derek. Could you click on the tax information box? And would you like to speak to that, Haley?
Sure. So it's, again, remember tax forms, we're always dealing with the year past when we're in the future year. So again, right now we're in tax season for 2020. So that means we need our 2020 T2202, lots of twos out there. So these are still accessed through CamLink for 2020. So there's a link here that you can link back to CamLink to get that. Tax forms in myCamosun will be for the 2021 year, which of course we deal with in 2022.
Thank you, Haley. I got a question from Caitlin, and Caitlin's a new student coming to Camosun, so I'll jump in and answer this. Caitlin, we're rolling out the access to myCamosun, so current students, previous students who are actively students at Camosun currently have access to the module. We're going to be rolling out access to new students in the next 24 hours. So you will be getting an email message with your new credentials and giving you instructions on how to go in and set up your account and your password, and then you will be able to log into myCamosun. So hang tight, and we're delighted to have you. It is coming. we're just doing a little bit of a phased rollout to make sure that all of the configuration is correct. Okay. Okay, I've got a question from a C number with no name, and this goes to registration dates and org funding. So I'm not sure if Scott or Haley would like to speak to this. I just need to confirm this, getting asked a lot. When can eligible students see their registration date? Do they have to have org funding approved or have paid the 175 deposit first? Or can they see the registration date and then figure out how they're going to get the funding in place before that date? And this information is going to be available until Friday of this week.
Okay, sorry, I don't think I understood the information about Friday, but it is a two-pronged question. And if you are a returning student at Camosun, like Scott mentioned, the assignment of the dates will be up and coming shortly. And that was where we looked in my schedule. We looked at the, backwards in time here, summer term. So the assignment of the date occurs regardless of whether or not you have OG funding in place. That is associated to you being a student at Camosun. So that will occur for every student. The funding piece, you will be able to see your funding in the financial aid and awards module. You can go in there and see if your funding has been approved or not. So you have your financial aid and awards. This student doesn't happen to have OG, but they have some other funding here. So you can see, this is where you would be able to see the award amount and which term it's available for. So once OG has been approved, you can see it here. And then if you're OG approved, then your deposit would be covered for you as part of registration. So I think that's maybe the person asking the question is trying to tie those pieces in. So yes, so you wouldn't have to pay a deposit if you have your OG funding, but your registration date will always be assigned to you as a student, regardless of whether or not you have funding approved or not.
Thank you.
I hope I've answered the question.
I think you have. Well done. A question from Elena. I can't understand now where to apply for summer courses, and if I need extra help from an international consultant, who can help me? Where can I find his contact information? And I thought, Haley, maybe you could just show on the links where we've got, thank you very much. He's reading my mind.
Okay, so yes, as you'll notice, most of the pages that we went through when we navigated through myCamosun have this blue banner at the top. And this is information that's specific to the page that you're on, and it often includes links, and some of them are often email links to different departments that can assist you. So if you are an international student and you need help with course selection and planning, there is a link here that you would link on, and that would take you to the contact information for the international advisors. So again, I think, I don't know if I heard the exact question of this person, but I think they were just wanting to know how to connect with international.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that answered it very well. Thank you, Haley.
Okay.
I've also included the email address in a response in the Q&A, just so others can see it as well.
Thank you, Scott. So a question from Nikki, and this is around co-op options, but also around my notes. And I think that's something worth touching on. Is there a co-op option to include co-op requirements? And does the Co-op and Career Services Department have access to my notes under Plan and Register? And I was wondering, Haley, you could just reiterate the my notes and how they would be used as part of this answer.
Yeah, so the my notes are a free space that's intended for you to keep some track of some planning that you may want to do as part of your coursework. This is not intended as a means of communication, and it does not trigger any communication activity to occur, and it is also not monitored. So putting something in my notes it will not provide an answer to anything that you store here. So it's just intended as free space. I don't know if I was clear on the question about the co-op. I think I heard that, do they need to add a co-op work term? And is that done by the co-op facilitator? Was that the question, Helen?
Yeah, it sounds like a staff question, not a student question. This is a session focused on students. So
Okay.
we can probably take that one offline, but the general answer is that if a program has a co-op option or a co-op requirement, that has been built into the program plan.
And if I can add as well, regarding the My Notes, just a note to the students, when you enter something in My Notes, you are entering it into your student record. It is saved. There is no way to delete them afterwards. But this is a very helpful tool for you to formally ask or request or explain a request that you might have of academic advising or anyone who is supporting you from the college. So by all means, use My Notes. That is intended as a platform for you to be able to add comments and notes to your student record yourselves. Okay. I'm just having a look at the questions. I've got another question. Can I register if my org has not yet been approved, but I have applied for funding?
Yeah, so sorry, if it's not been approved, then you would be responsible for paying the deposit portion, because in order to register in courses, your deposit must be paid. So if you want to make that choice in advance and pay your deposit, if your OG funding has not been approved by the time your registration period begins, you may do so and then have your OG approved at a later time period. I would check in with the Financial Aid and Awards Department if you have concerns, specific concerns about the timing of all that.
Okay, and we got a question from Derek. Where do you see the start and end dates for courses for winter and for summer?
Okay, so that is on the course details. So we can see here in the meeting information, this is where the time and the dates are. Again, when you click on the section details as well, the meeting information displays here as well. This course happens to be asynchronous, so there's no information scheduled. It's also, again, a demonstration environment. So, but it is on here on the left-hand side under each course.
And Haley, I know you hit on this before, but do you want to just speak quickly again to the seats available and waitlist information that's displaying there and some of the additional information that's visible?
Sure. So let's just go back and look at the winter course because it's a little easier to see the wait list. So again, the wait list information displays here. Again, the total students on the wait list are what displays as wait listed. And then the student's individual position number on the wait list is what displays in these brackets here. The course capacity, we'll see here, this course has 40 seats available here. And then as the, when you're looking in the schedule and the course catalog, again, that information is available in the course catalog as well. You can see how many seats are still available in a course.
Thank you, Haley. We're running down on questions, which is fantastic. We've had a really healthy supply of questions. So I'm just going to throw to Scott if he'd like to add a summary or any final comments.
Sorry, did we do the other one about the tax information box? Did we click on that?
Yes, that was covered.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good. Yeah,
Thank you, Scott.
perfect. Yeah, I mean, we can maybe just wait another moment or two and see if anybody has any final questions. Helen, if students have other questions, like you said, there was an email that went out last week as well as this morning that included contact information for various departments for students to be able to get help. You know, I would direct your attention to that email that you received. It went to over 11,000 students, so everyone should have received it. And you know, please reach out to the appropriate department if you need help, or if you're seeing something that doesn't look quite right in your record. Now is the time for us to help and to get those fixed up.
Thank you, Scott. Yes, by all means, reach out to those contact points. Also, Haley, if you want to show that myCamosun help page again, there are some really great instructions. There are step-by-step screenshots and instructions, as well as videos on there. We hope that these answer a lot of your questions. So please use this as your first source to go to and see if your questions are answered. As a project, we are still looking for feedback, and we are in a phase of stabilizing and making sure that the configuration and everything is set up correctly. As we migrated all of the data from the legacy system into myCamosun, we have been validating that. But if you do identify anything that just does not look right in your record, please bring it to the attention of the appropriate registrar's office, department, or international department, so that we can look into it. And we ask for you to be patient as we adjust to the new system, both operationally at Camosun, but also as a student experience.
One more question just came in, Helen, that I think is worth answering.
Great.
Before we wrap up.
Yes, a question from Daryl.
Yeah.
I tried to add a course to my plan, but it's not recognizing a prerequisite that's already been accepted for course I'm taking now. So, Haley, did you want to, or Scott?
Yeah, I guess I need to understand that one a little bit better. So if you're adding a course to your plan and you're actually you're registered in the course that is the prereq to that course currently, I don't believe it will show it as completed until you're actually graded out of that course. And then that notice about not having completed the prereq would disappear. But I don't quite know. It's not recognizing a prereq that has already been accepted for a course I'm taking now.
I think what's happening there is that the system is just detecting that, and it's providing that as, again, as an informational piece to the student. So it's not actually going to restrict the registration when that occurs. It's just an informational piece. And I think the intention is that you understand that if this course that's in progress is not completed or it does not meet, you don't end up with the prerequisite, that this course now would be lacking that. Okay. So it's not, it shouldn't be restricting any activity so far. It would only be that if you didn't get the required grade in the course, that then you wouldn't be able to register.
And this is a great example. I see Daryl's provided some additional information about the specific courses, but this is a great example of questions that we would love to hear from you coming to student records or your academic advising support. So please reach out to them. They are there to support you. And I'm just conscious of the time and we're wrapping up. So Scott, did you have any final comments? Otherwise, I will ask Heather if she has any.
Yeah, I could turn over to Heather. That's great. Thanks, Helen.
Thank you, Scott. Heather.
Hi, everyone. Well, I'm so glad. I think there was up to 70 students who participated, and I can't thank you all enough for taking the time to participate in this session. Want to give a sincere thanks to the project team who has been working so hard over the last 3.5 years to make this new functionality possible. As we've said, we've just implemented, there will be a few little bumps in the road, so please be patient with us. But we're pretty confident that it's going to create just a much better experience for all of you at your time here at Camosun. Scott, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but Helen, if you want to wrap up, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Heather. And thank you to Haley for the demonstration and Scott and the rest of the project team behind the scenes who have been helping answer these questions. Students, I hope you enjoy this new system. It has been a pleasure bringing it to you. So with that, we will wrap up with thanks. This video is going to be available, as is the information that was in the slide deck. That information will be available. Please go to this myCamosun page that Haley's demoing, Haley's showing right now for all and any information about this system. Enjoy.